Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to decode the fascinating and, honestly, sometimes hidden meanings behind how our pets and some of the absolute wildest animals on Earth catch their Z's. I mean, have you ever looked at your sleeping dog and just wondered what on earth is actually going through their head right now? Or, taking a step back, how an animal in the wild manages to sleep without, becoming someone else's midnight snack? Well, buckle up because today we're diving right into those exact questions. Okay, so let's start with this completely bizarre dead cockroach pose. You've probably laughed at this in your own living room, right? You walk in, and there's your best furry friend, flat on their back, limbs just sticking out at absolutely ridiculous angles. It looks, well, completely uncomfortable. But as it turns out, there's some really deep biological communication happening here, and it actually says a ton about how they view you and your home. Take a look at the perfect contrast here. On one side, you've got the total environmental trust of a belly-up sleeper, and on the other, the ancient instinctual readiness of a curled-up dog. Exposing the belly literally means your dog is completely submissive and showing absolute trust. Why? Because they're leaving their most vital organs totally unprotected. No way they do that if they don't feel completely safe. On the flip side, dogs that curl into a tight little ball, what we like to call the donut, they're subconsciously protecting themselves, keeping that body heat in, and hiding those same vital organs. Moving into our first main section, decoding dog sleeping positions. Ah, yes, the sploot. It's super common in energetic puppies. When a dog lays with their belly completely flat against the floor, front and back legs stretched all the way out, well, it usually means they're exhausted, but they want to be ready to pop up and play at a moment's notice. Or, alternatively, since their belly has a lot less fur, pressing it against a nice cool tile floor is literally one of the fastest ways for an overheated dog to bring their core body temperature down. So if you do notice your dog constantly seeking out cold pavement or doing the sploot to regulate their temperature, especially on a hot summer day, here are a few quick things you can do to help them out. You can flick on a fan or the AC, make sure they've got a fresh bowl of cold water, maybe grab one of those cooling mats for them to lay on, or even toss them a frozen treat. It's just a really simple way to respond to exactly what their sleeping position is telling you. Now, a crucial point to remember is that a dog sleeping with their head resting right on their front paws, they aren't fully relaxed. We call this the lion's pose, or sometimes the sphinx. This stance basically means their muscles are still somewhat tense. They're resting lightly, staying totally vigilant. It's kind of like a transitional state between being wide awake and hitting that deep, deep sleep. All right, on to section 2, the twitch, the snore, and the dig. Let's get into the weird habits. Have you ever caught your dog frantically digging into a perfectly soft, expensive living room couch cushion? It's so funny, but that little ritual is actually your dog channeling their inner wolf. See, out in the wild, wolves and wild dogs had to trample down tall grass or dig out excess snow, dirt, and leaves just to create a safe, flat, warm, resting area. So your dog is literally just hardwired to make sure their modern memory foam bed is up to those ancient survival standards. And when they finally do settle down, usually spreading out into that pancake position on their side, they enter deep REM sleep. If you see them paddling their paws or twitching or letting out those tiny little muffled barks, don't panic. They aren't having a seizure. They are literally dreaming. Research actually shows that, much like us humans, dogs process their daily events during sleep. So they're probably just reliving that afternoon walk or, intensely chasing some imaginary squirrels. Moving right along to section 3, dog sleep by the numbers. As you can see, growing puppies and aging senior dogs need a massive amount of sleep. We're talking 18 to 20 hours of shut-eye a day. Puppies absolutely need it for their physical development and to process all the crazy new information they're learning. Seniors, on the other hand, need it just because their energy levels naturally drop off. Meanwhile, your average adult dog settles into a slightly more, human-like rhythm, sleeping anywhere from 8 to 14 hours, though that's heavily influenced by just how active they were that day. So you might think your dog is a little eccentric for sleeping half on and half off the sofa, or for paddling their legs in the air. But trust me, the broader animal kingdom takes sleep to an entirely different, mind-bending level, and they do it out of pure survival necessity. Let's get wild. Section 4, Wild Animal Sleep Secrets. Just 30. Yep, that tiny number is the total amount of sleep in minutes that a giraffe gets per entire night. It's wild, right? And they don't even get it all at once. It is broken up into these tiny micro naps while standing completely upright. Because of their incredibly long, awkward legs, it takes a giraffe a long time to stand up from a resting position. Lying down on the African plains would just make them way too vulnerable to lions, so they basically sacrifice deep sleep entirely for survival. Now, to survive in harsh environments where fully losing consciousness literally means certain death, some animals have mastered this unbelievable biological hack: unihemispheric sleep. It allows an animal to essentially stay awake and asleep at the exact same time. They're effectively keeping one eye open to watch out for predators or just to maintain life-saving bodily functions. It's like splitting your brain in half. You can really see the power of this half-brain sleep across totally different environments. Marine mammals, like dolphins, they use it because they actually have to consciously remember to swim to the surface to breathe. If their whole brain slept, they drown. No joke. On the other hand, look at the great frigate bird. They use it to snooze in little 10-second bursts while soaring high on air currents, meaning they can literally fly over the ocean for up to 2 months straight without ever landing. Mind-blowing, right? Now compare that 30-minute giraffe nap to bats and walruses. Both of these guys log an incredible 19 hours of sleep a day. 19 hours! Bats hang upside down using these specialized locking tendons in their legs that actually grip tighter as they relax, which is what prevents them from just falling on their heads. And walruses? Well, when they aren't sleeping on land, they sleep in the water by bobbing around like giant buoys. They do this using these completely unique 13-gallon inflatable throat pouches. Nature is so weird, guys. Okay, if you think you need a heavy-weighted blanket to sleep comfortably, imagine being a parrotfish. Every single night, right before resting in the coral reefs, they secrete this giant, transparent mucus bubble from their gills that completely surrounds their entire body. This amazing, giant snot bubble actually masks their scent and acts as a physical shield against tiny, blood-sucking ocean parasites that prowl the reefs at night. Gross, but highly effective. On a much, much cuter side of oceanic survival, we have sea otters, who employ this adorable buddy system. Because their incredibly thick fur makes them super buoyant, they run a real risk of just drifting far, far away on the ocean waves while they're fast asleep. To prevent this, they literally hold hands with each other, or they'll wrap themselves up tightly in anchored kelp and seaweed, just ensuring they stay safely with their pack. Meanwhile, deep down in the ocean, massive sperm whales exhibit what might be one of the most hauntingly beautiful sleep behaviors ever recorded. They sleep completely vertically. They just drift there, head up, like these strange, silent pillars in the water. But there's a catch. They have to limit these naps to just 10 to 15 minutes at a time. If they stop moving for too long, they'll lose too much core body heat to the freezing ocean water and actually succumb to hypothermia. But for sure, the absolute champion of bizarre sleep has got to be the Egyptian desert snail. See this number here, 4? That represents the number of years that one individual snail spent asleep. Yep, years. Back in the 1840s, it was assumed to be completely dead and was actually glued to a museum display board. 4 years later, a curator noticed a little bit of slime, dropped the snail into a bowl of water, and miraculously, the thing woke up and popped right out of its shell. No way, right? So, how did it do that? That famous museum snail survived through an extreme biological mechanism called torpor. By drastically lowering its body temperature and slowing its metabolic rate down to almost zero, the snail was able to survive for years without a single drop of moisture or a crumb of food. It just proves that for animals out there in harsh climates, sleep isn't just about getting a little shut-eye to feel refreshed in the morning. It is an absolutely incredible tool for ultimate survival. So, the next time your dog curls up into a tight, secure little donut on the rug or sploots across your kitchen floor, remember that they are just a small, cozy piece of a massive, ancient sleep puzzle that really connects all living things. Our pets and the absolute wildest animals on Earth are all governed by these deep-rooted survival mechanisms. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What secret evolutionary traits are you holding onto when you close your eyes to sleep tonight? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay curious and hey, sleep well.